What are the things that you fear that's been keeping you from living your dream? That's been keeping you from doing some things that you would like to do? Just think about those things.
Every time your voice speaks and thinks about having something new, fear is there to squash it. Every time you want to try something new, fear is there to squash it. Every time you want to go somewhere new, fear is there to squash it. The big problem I see in the world today is that too many people are letting fear always win these inner conflicts.
Every single person out there listening to this right now is afraid of the what ifs. They're afraid of what might happen. They're afraid of, what if I do this and it doesn't happen? Nobody knows what's going to happen. I don't know. You don't know. We don't know.
What if you don't do it? What if you don't chase your dreams? What if you don't stand up for yourself? What if you do not step up to the plate and take that challenge?
So it's not being afraid of the unknown. It's going into the unknown with reckless abandon, waving your head, saying, holy, I'm going to kick some ass today. And when that comes, you kick its ass too. That's what being successful is about.
You face your fears, you become the person you want to be. You run from your fears, you're not living. You're alive, but you're not getting freedom. If you face your fears, guys, that fear is destroyed. It comes back in its confidence. What else am I capable of? What else am I holding my back from? What am I running from? I don't need to. What else can I overcome?
Fear is looking too far ahead. Focus on the next step and not the staircase, the next obstacle. Look at the amount of obstacles as opportunities to succeed, not to fail. There is no such thing as failure. There is only exhaustion. Not showing up is failing. Don't be afraid of the finish line and welcome the starting block, and you will overcome the fear and uncertainty one step at a time.
The absence of fear, it is moving forward in spite of it. I have to have the courage. And let me tell you something, most Americans don't have this kind of courage. I have to have the courage to stop making excuses.
There is no excuse for not living up to your fullest potential. No excuse.
You are the only person that can encourage you to get back up. Look in the mirror right now and tell yourself, I will fight through this. I will make it, and I won't give up. Life, you thought you had me down. But this is the moment I change my mind. I won't let anything keep me down.
No matter how many times I fail, no matter how many times I feel rejected, embarrassed, down, out, I will not give up. I will keep at it until my greatest fear dies. I will stand toe-to-toe with fear. Fear will die.
Nobody's journey is seamless or smooth. We all stumble, we all have setbacks. If things go wrong, you hit a dead end, as you will. It's just life's way of saying, time to change course. So ask every failure, this is what I do. Every failure, every crisis, every difficult time, I say, what is this here to teach me?
Instead of focusing on how unfair your situation is, I'm challenging you to use your frustration to push you harder. I want you to know that you are not finished. In fact, you are just getting started.
If you don't learn how to master the breaking point, you may have many ventures, but you will not accrue massive success in any area because you have not mastered the breaking point.
You're never just a victim of circumstances. No matter what happens, you're never without options that can get you back on track. It takes courage to recognize that, because it means accepting responsibility for your own future. But I would suggest that we should accept that responsibility, because no one is really going to accept it for us, no matter what we may have been led to believe.
It takes courage to act. Part of being hungry when you've been defeated, it takes courage to start over again.
Yes, we have those ups and downs. But in the end, your success, your happiness, your greatness comes from within.
I wanted to be somebody so bad, it just ate me up inside. It was in my bones, it was in my blood, it was in my heart. I want to be somebody. You've got to have standards in your life. You've got to have rules you live by. Discipline, the definition, is doing what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it.
Begin to know that whatever it takes for you to create that, you've got that in you. You've got that. You've got genius in you. You've got goodness in you. You've got creativeness in you. If you decide to take the initiative to change the current quality of your life, I say to you that you will find that the universe is on your side.
There's a lesson in this story. So many things are trying to come to you. So many doors are trying to open, but we're so attached to who we've been that we can't quite become all of who we're supposed to be.
So what you say to yourself, support. There's no fucking coach, there's no trainer to keep you going. It's only you. The whole thing is this. Don't say a word. Stay uncommon amongst uncommon people. You're never done. Don't stop when you're tired. Stop when you're done. Stay hard.
It's much easier to come up with excuses of why you can't do it. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. If you do what is easy, complain about your situation, your circumstances. You surrender and give up on your dreams. Become depressed and bitter and angry. Anybody can do that. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard.
If you're living in the past, you're going to be depressed because you are rehashing things that happened to you that are not going to happen again. If you're living in the future, you're going to be anxious because you are anticipating what's coming or you're wishing for things that aren't happening yet. Being in the present is where the gold is. Being in the present moment is where you will have the greatest control, where you will feel the most at ease, and where happiness flourishes.
Many of you have been selling yourself short all of your life. You have the opportunity to experience more environmental, physical, and mental abundance. Someone who is in a constant state of elevation. Their self-talk is, I know who I am, I know where I'm going, and I know where I came from.
You have the power within yourself to change millions of lives by facing life. My biggest fear in life is if there is a final resting place in this world, and there's a final judgment, and you talk to something much bigger than you.
If success is the result that you are ultimately seeking, you must be obsessed with the process. You have no time to let fear, doubt, failure, quit, negative thoughts, or give up enter into your mental.
Invest your energy into things that either enhance your vitality or the vitality of the world in which we're living, because those are places to build a better world. To invest your energy in the negative things and all that kind of stuff like that, you're building a bad world with that, and you're using your own energy, your life gets shortened. And so the reality is consciousness is real. It's a currency. And if you use it and spend it appropriately, you can have a much better life.
If you're going to be successful in creating the life of your dreams, you have to believe that you are capable of making it happen. You have to believe that you have the right stuff and that you're able to pull it off. Now, whether you call it self-esteem, self-confidence, or self-assurance, it's a deep-seated belief that you have what it takes, the abilities, the inner resources, the talents, and the skills to create your desired results.
To me, every day is a beginning, a new day, a new week, a new shot at life. An opportunity to come out of the gate like a man possessed and attack the day without mercy. And of course, I will get tired. I will get beat up. I'll get knocked down and drained, and I will have some bad days. But I will not stop.
You know, if you start with the presumption that there's a baseline of suffering in life and that can be exaggerated as a consequence of human failing, as a consequence of malevolence and betrayal and self-betrayal and deceit and all those things that we do to each other and ourselves that we know that aren't good. That amplifies the suffering. That's sort of the baseline against which you have to work. And it's contemplation of that often that makes people hopeless and depressed and anxious and overwhelmed and all of that. And they have the reasons. But you need something to put up against that. And what you put up against that is meaning. Meaning is actually the instinct that helps you guide yourself through that catastrophe. And most of that meaning is to be found in the adoption of responsibility. So if you think, for example, if you think about the people that you admire, well, you think about when you have a clear conscience first, because that's a good thing to aim at, which is something different than happiness, right?
A clear conscience is different than happiness.
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah.
That's
you're not
better.
Like, guilting yourself. You're not feeling bad about yourself.
That's right. You feel that you've justified
Clean.
you've justified your existence, right? And so you're not waking up at 3 a.m. in a cold sweat thinking about all the terrible things that you've involved yourself in.
What you said to someone that you shouldn't have said, or how you acted, or lied.
What
or
opportunity you lost, or the things that you've let go that you should have capitalized on, and all of that. And so if you think about the times when you're at peace with yourself with regards to how you're conducting yourself in the world, it's almost always conditions under which you've adopted responsibility, right? At least the most guilt I think that you can experience perhaps is the sure knowledge that you're not even taking care of yourself, so that you're leaving that responsibility to other people, because that's pretty pathetic. And unless you're psychopathic and and you're living a parasitical life, and that characterizes a very small minority of people, and an even smaller minority think that's justifiable. But most of the time you're in guilt and shame because you're not only are you not taking care of yourself, let's say, so someone else has to, but you're not living up to your full potential. And so there's an existential weight that goes along with that.
If you don't learn how to effectively, not destructively, because that's where most people go, they get into an endless loop of self-punishment, which is totally ineffective. But if you don't learn to punish yourself, you will never get where you want to go. Now, that needs to pale in comparison to the amount of time that you reward yourself. Now you need to earn that reward. If you're just lavishing yourself with emotional praise and you haven't done anything, then I think that will cheapen it, will ultimately mean nothing. And quite frankly, I don't think you can really bamboozle yourself. I don't think if you try to praise yourself for stupid shit, I think some part of you knows you haven't done anything to deserve that praise. But when you set a bar and you meet that or exceed that, to then tell yourself, hey, you did it. You said you were going to do it. You did it. And that is worthy of praise. And getting good at praising yourself is incredibly important. And I think that most people have a very hard time doing both. Most people don't know how to effectively praise themselves. They don't know how to get themselves, first of all, to do things that are praiseworthy. And then when they do, they don't take the time to emotionally reward themselves, meaning you actually have to feel it. It can't just be intellectual. You've got to actually feel that. And the same with punishment. If you say you're going to do something, even if nobody's watching, and you don't do it, then you need to emotionally punish yourself. None of you will ever know whether I actually get out of bed in 10 minutes or less or not. But I say I do all the time. But every time I miss it, even if I miss it by seconds, I just gave myself the chills. Even if I miss it by seconds, I will punish myself for that. Because I said I was going to do it and I didn't do it. So the fact that nobody's watching is utterly irrelevant to me. It has everything to do with myself. Now, the reason that this is important, the reason that I think that people need to do this is because that's how you shape your behavior. So, like water, over time can create the Grand Canyon, or you can take a polishing rock and shape stones. You can shape your personality. You can certainly shape your identity and shape your behaviors if you learn how to reward and punish yourself. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. That is the truth of the human condition.
If I had to choose one pervasive mentality in today's culture that I would deem the most dangerous, I would select the victim mentality. Playing the role of the victim means pointing the finger at someone or something outside yourself for things that are going wrong in your own life. This has to do with something called your locus of control. Someone who has an internal locus of control believes that he or she can influence events and their outcomes, but someone with an external locus of control blames outside forces, other people, circumstances, or even fate for everything. Everywhere I look in today's society, it seems that more and more people have an external locus of control. For example, if someone is having trouble getting a job and they blame it on the current political or economic landscape, they are demonstrating an external locus of control. Or if they often catch colds and blame them on their coworkers or germ-riddled work environment, that's an external locus of control mindset. Another one is when someone is constantly in debt and they blame inflation or the high cost of living rather than taking responsibility for their own financial planning and budgeting. If someone goes through a divorce or a bad breakup and is still in pain 5 years later and blaming it on the ex, that's an external locus of control. Essentially, we are choosing to have an external locus of control anytime that we are pointing the finger away from ourselves for anything going on in our life. Here's the problem with this kind of thinking. It takes away your power. By playing the blame game, you're effectively throwing up your hands and saying, well, I'm a victim and there's not a damn thing I can do about it. The moment you blame someone else for something you're feeling or experiencing is the moment that you give up your power. By giving your power away, you are making a decision to effectively let life happen to you. You are refusing to take responsibility for your own life. As you might imagine, that can be a very destructive pattern to set. In order to stay connected with our best self, we need to always take responsibility for what happens in our life. We need to find a way to have control, even in moments where it just seems like the world is out to get us. Sure, bad things happen that are outside of our control. But here's the key. We are 100% in control of our reactions to those things. We can choose to spiral into depression, anxiety, anger, resentment, or frustration and just pull the covers back over our head. Or we can choose to react in a way that benefits us and those around us. If we fail a test, we can analyze what went wrong and study in a more effective way before taking it again. If we keep catching a cold, we can learn about how to boost our immunity and overall health. The list goes on and on. But the bottom line is that we have a choice. Blame someone or something else that we can't control, or find a way we can take responsibility and change what we're doing so we can change the outcome.
Buddha recognized the only sin as ignorance, and by ignorance, he simply meant not knowing the difference between truth and falsehood. In other words, our only true dilemma as human beings is a lack of understanding about ourselves and the true nature of the world we live in. With more knowledge, we become more capable people. Without it, we cannot progress. The truth that we all must come face to face with is that we know very little about anything at all. Even the many things we think we know about the world may in fact be completely false. After all, how could we possibly say with certainty that we know anything if we only have access to the very thoughts that were planted in our mind since birth? What about the knowledge we have not captured? How could that change our perception of the world? We must be willing to accept the fact that we may be wrong about many things. It's okay not to know. We're all doing the best we can, so let's continue on that path and acquire the knowledge that's going to get us where we want to go. The quickest way to dispose of ignorance is to simply acquire more knowledge, however. It is important to do so with a sort of curiosity. Do not immediately accept everything you learn as fact. Use knowledge as a tool. Don't let it use you. It is easy to get trapped in a dogmatic belief system as a result of what we learn, but we must remain flexible. Life is our teacher. Let's always remember that. Change is one of the greatest symbols of strength and willpower you can find. It is easy to find examples in popular culture, movies and books, music, art, entertainment that reinforce the idea. Many speakers are great at building willpower. They often base their speeches on the stories of people who have overcome such destructive behaviors as alcoholism, smoking, and drug dependence. Although they are very valid examples of how to bring the idea to perfection, I find them too tragic. There is no substitute for willpower in any part of your daily life. You can build will by changing your habits. I view this trick as an opportunity to challenge myself. Try to get to bed earlier if, for example, you are someone who is prone to staying up late watching streaming movies or series. It may be a good idea to finish a book right before bed. Research shows that we get entertainment from the screen. If you read a book, instead of being submerged for 3 hours in front of the screen, it will take you an hour to get tired. This is because you are reading actively and not sitting still. Remember that a habit is an underlying neural connection. If you do something once, it becomes a habit. If you do the same thing over and again, it will grow stronger until it becomes an automatic action. For a week, you'll feel better. The second trick is to not be afraid of confronting temptations if you can face up to temptations without falling in. You are on the right track. This is something that can be very difficult for many people. I once read that fear only grows if it's allowed to. That sentence changed my view of life and helped me understand how things were. I became so consumed by the terrors that terrified me that thinking about them caused me to have spasms around my body. As time went on, I learned that there is no way to strengthen our will except to expose us to these things. These fears and temptations are all part of our lives. However, the real problem arises when your strength is lost or when you give up on your ability to control these situations. I take it seriously when I tell you that temptation is an infallible technique to build will. Is it possible that you are the type of person who is afraid to speak in front of others? You can reverse stage fright, as it has been shown. But you must rise to the occasion. There are instant gratifications, on the other hand. If you believe that you have everything necessary to develop your will, and you do, then what are the chances of you not getting it? Be ready to show. Pass by your favorite bakery. You might even ask for coffee. If you are training yourself to become an independent Spartan fighter, you don't need to be worried. You can do the same with other temptations. You have already taken the first steps to overcome the bad habit procrastination. Now, pile up all the tasks you need to do and try to complete them according to importance. Challenge yourself.
Why are most people living a life of average, of mediocrity, of just pathetic, boring lives? I'm going to tell you, it's because they compromise. They continuously compromise on their goals and dreams. You begin to compromise the goals and dreams that you have. You begin to negotiate them away. And I often wonder to myself why you would do this. You only get one run at life, you know. There is no second run. There is no trial run. If you think this is a trial run, my second time around, I'm really going to go all in. You're not. You're not. This is it. And so if you are here and you've got goals and dreams, why would you ever compromise?
We are taken apart slowly, convinced to take an easier path, enticed by comfort. Most of us aren't defeated in one decisive battle. We are defeated one tiny, seemingly insignificant surrender at a time that chips away at who we should really be. It isn't that you wake up one day and decide, that's it, I'm going to be weak. No. It is a slow, incremental process. It chips away at our will. It chips away at our discipline. We sleep in a little later. We miss a workout, then another. And without realizing it, one day you wake up and you've become something that you never would have allowed. Instead of strong, you are weak. You have to be on guard. You have to hold the line on the seemingly insignificant little things that shouldn't matter, but things that do.
Work on yourself. Work on your focus. You cannot stop. You gotta work. The problem with you is you see difficult
as something negative. I want you to see difficult differently. Are you hearing me? I need you to push through that stuff. Push through it.
If you have something to change, if you want to change something, change it.
There is no capability difference between you and someone you consider to be an ultimate role model of success. The only difference is they've learned to manage their state and they've learned to control their mental focus. Whatever we concentrate our focus on consistently and strive to learn from, we will get great at. I don't care what it is. If you focus on it daily and you strive to be better, you're going to make little distinctions that will make you more and more effective every single day.
Every day, do something that moves you toward that goal, that keeps that goal alive and in sight and in focus. However small or insignificant that step might seem, take it, do it, make it happen, because that goal isn't going to achieve itself. It is all on you. Look up. Look up and recognize that there is a way out. There is a path for you to take. And it's not an easy path. It takes courage and it's hard. But what is the other choice? What else can we do? Let the darkness completely consume us, be overtaken by temptation and vice? No. Do not accept that. You can triumph over these dark forces. You can become better. You can be better.
But if you don't put yourself out here, if you don't become actively involved in life, if you hold back on yourself and continue to procrastinate, most people go through life as volunteer victims. They go through life volunteering to be victims, giving excuses on why they're not pursuing their greatness, giving excuses on why they're not doing the things that they want to do, putting it off again and again and again, wasting valuable time. Life is very valuable, ladies and gentlemen. Time is very valuable, and it's very fragile. You've got to decide to do what you can right now, and don't delay. The major key to your taking charge of your destiny is you. It's you. And even though you might not have all the things going for you that you would like, you have the power within you as you begin to develop your consciousness, as you hold the vision of what it is that you want to do, as you decide to answer this small voice within you. Because as you respond to this voice that's telling you you ought to do this, the way will come, ideas will come to you. You will begin to attract things you need and things that you don't even know that you need right now.
Results is the name of the game. What other game is there? He said, it's not what happens that determines the major part of your future. It's not what happens. What happens to us all. He said the key is what you do about it. It's not what happens, it's what you do about it. And he said if you will start that process of change, do something different the next 90 days than you did the last 90 days, like picking up the books to read. Do something different like the new health disciplines, relationship with your family, whatever it is, doesn't matter how small it is. If you'll start doing different things with the same circumstances, since we cannot change the circumstances, but we can change ourselves. We can change what we do. Here's the happiness is contained in what you become.
It's a very common idea. And I figured out why that is, I think. So imagine that we already know from a clinical perspective that, if you set out a path towards a goal, which you want to do because you need a goal and you need a path, because that provides you with positive emotion, right? So you set up something as valuable, so that implies a hierarchy. You set up something as valuable. You decide that you're going to do that instead of other things, so that's kind of a sacrifice, because you're sacrificing everything else to pursue that. And then you experience a fair bit of positive emotion and meaning as you watch yourself move towards the goal. And so the implication of that is the better the goal, the more full and rich your experience is going to be when you pursue it. So that's one of the reasons that's one of the reasons for developing a vision and for fleshing yourself out philosophically, because you want to aim at the highest goal that you can manage. Okay, so you do that, and then what you'll find is that as you move towards the goal, there are certain things that
that you have to accomplish that frighten you, because it's going to stretch you if you pursue a goal, and so that'll put you up against challenges. Okay, so all the clinical data indicates, well, the opposite of safe spaces, as Jonathan Haidt has been pointing out, that what you want to do when you identify something that someone is avoiding that they need to do because they're afraid, you have them voluntarily confront it.
I want to have this much experience and be able to do this by 30 days from now, 60 days from now, 6 months from now. And finally, that 6 months passes, and there you are. Finally, the time passes and you have it. Finally, the time passes and the skill is now beginning to be polished, and it is so unique and effective. Achieving is an incredible source of inspiration.
But the power of doing a better habit each day, or casting a little vote for that type of person, is that now you have evidence to root your belief in.
Occasionally, and this is true for everybody, if you live long enough, life will come for you at some point, right? Like something's going to happen. So occasionally life will stress you. But when life doesn't challenge you, I think it's important to challenge yourself. You can decide to design something to make your good behaviors easier and your bad behaviors harder. So when it comes to habits, if you want to practice your guitar more frequently, put it right in the middle of your living room so that you run across it all the time. If you want to read more, when you make your bed in the morning, take the book you want to read, put it on top of the pillow. When you come back that night, pick it up, read a few pages, go to sleep. That small improvements, tiny habits, little choices are not just a cherry on top of our performance, not just like a nice thing to have, but actually can be the key that unlocks significant success. What's interesting here is that everybody wants a transformation, right? Everybody wants a radical improvement, want rapid success, but we fail to realize that small habits and little choices are transforming us every day already. That these times when you make a choice that's slightly better, slightly worse, a little mistake or a small error, 1% better or 1% worse, that these things compound over time. And habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. And so if you can learn to master those, then you can make time work for you rather than get against you, right? Good habits make time your ally. Bad habits make time your enemy.
How much time do you waste? So then I get class to vote. How many of you waste 10 hours a day? It's like 10% of the kids will put up their hands. And it's interesting because I don't define what constitutes waste. I just ask the question. So they're diagnosing themselves, right? I'm not saying you're wasting 10 hours a day. I'm just asking. It's like, given your own attitude, how much time are you wasting?
So many people are waiting. You're waiting for things to be perfect. You're waiting for everyone to get themselves together. You're waiting for someone to invite you into the room. You're waiting for someone to give you a seat at the table. You're waiting for someone to validate your gift. You're waiting for someone to call your name. You're waiting for someone to give you the opportunity. You're waiting for everything to line up. You're waiting for all the situations to come together perfectly. And I'm telling you, you cannot wait. You got to start working right now. Don't wait another minute. Don't wait another moment. Now is your time.
If you believe that there's very little potential, how much action are you going to take?
Nothing.
Nothing, little. And when you take little potential with a little action, what kind of results do you get? Lousy little results. And when you get little results, what does that do to your belief? You go, see, I told you this was a waste of time, told you this wouldn't work. And then what happens? You tap even less potential, you take even less action, you get even worse results, and your belief gets even weaker. And this sucker feeds on itself until you are in a downward spiral.
It's poisonous.
It's poisonous and it's self-fulfilling. Now, what if something could happen that could come along and fill you with a sense of absolute certainty? Not like I believe, but mean where you know. In you guys' case, mine as well, we knew because we had to. Because we burned the boats. There was no other option. We had to find a way. We weren't going to live that way. We all did it in different ways and for different reasons, but in essence, that was it. If you get yourself in a state of certainty that this is going to work, I'm going to find a way, and if this doesn't work, I will make the way, then you tap a lot more potential. And when you're certain in your potential, you take massive action. When you take massive action, you really believe in something, you get great results. When you get great results, your brain goes, see, I told you I was a stud. I told you this thing would work out. Now you're even stronger. You tap more potential, take greater action, greater results. And we get momentum. That's why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer.
Only execution matters. Burn that into your nervous system. Get a tattoo. Do whatever you need to do to remind yourself only execution matters. thinking about it, feeling good about it, those are awesome. But if you have a vision of something you're trying to do, become, whatever, and you don't execute against it, and I don't need you to want to build a big business. If you tell me you want to be the greatest parent of all time, then I'm going to ask you, what are you doing to execute on that goal? What are you doing? How do you define it? What are your deliverables? What are the metrics by which you're judging yourself? And by the way, if you don't want a grand goal, you don't need one. But then say, what I'm trying to do is get centered. I'm trying to experience happiness. Even that, you can begin to look at ways that you can improve that.
The starting point of setting goals is for you to throw off all mental limitations and let your mind roam freely across the entire universe of possibilities. Your primary job at the beginning is to allow yourself to dream big dreams and determine exactly what it is you want out of life in every area and in every dimension. Decide what's right before you decide what's possible. Imagine that you can be or have or do virtually anything that you really want to, as long as you know exactly what it is. First, make up a dream list. Temporarily imagine that you have no limitations of time, money, knowledge, contacts, experience, or education. Imagine that anything that you can write down is possible for you. Remember, anything that you can clearly define and crystallize on paper is probably possible if you want it long enough and hard enough and are willing to make whatever efforts and sacrifices are necessary. There are no unrealistic goals, only unrealistic timelines.
Most difficult things to do in the world is to admit that you were wrong. Admitting that you were wrong is nothing more than saying, I have been making choices with my mind that have created things in my life that are not working. And I no longer intend to continue making those choices. I was wrong. You don't have to make a declaration of it. You don't have to go out and feel guilty about it. You just simply say, it didn't work. The relationship that I was in before, I behaved in these ways. I didn't realize that it wasn't working for me. Now I do, and this is where I choose to be now.
A better story is a story about how stories transform. And so those are actually perceptual frames of reference that transform. And then I understood that if you don't have respect for the transformation process above all else, then you can't transform your perceptual frames when necessary, and then you can't adapt to error, and that destroys you.
We always have to update our versions about reality because it's the only way that we adapt. Don't believe everything you've read or heard. It just may not be the truth. There's always a greater truth that you and I can begin to investigate. Surely someone in eternity has had similar problems as you and I, and they've gotten beyond it. Yes or no? Yes. So study that person. You want to be wealthy? Study wealthy people. Don't just have some panacea that you're just going to get wealthy. Read about wealthy people and find out that they lost everything and failed miserably 20, 50 times. But what they had as a characteristic, a quality in their personality is they were persistent and they kept changing and they kept forgiving and letting go of the past and kept going. And sooner or later they ran into it, and when they had all the money they wanted, it was never about the money. It was just about that they could prove to themselves that they can do it.
It's a precious life. If something is precious, where do you want to invest this life? Into what do you want to invest this precious life? If this is a worthless life, throw it somewhere. If this is a precious life, what do you want to invest this life into? If you look at it this way, you will find something truly worthwhile to do.
And the hardest part about change is making a new choice. The moment you make a new choice, get ready. You're leaving the known. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be unfamiliar. There's going to be some uncertainty. You can't predict. You're not in the known any longer.
But if you want to begin to move into your own personal greatness, if you want to begin to really enjoy a happy, successful, healthy life, you've got to be willing to go against the tide. You've got to be willing to harness your will and say, in spite of this, I'm in control here. I'm not going to let this get me down. I'm not going to let this destroy me. I'm coming back. And I'll be stronger and better because of it. You have got to make a declaration that this is what you stand for. You're standing up for your dreams. You're standing up for peace of mind. You're standing up for health. You want it, and you're going to go all out to have it. It's not going to be easy. When you want to change, it's not easy. If it were in fact easy, everybody would do it. But if you're serious, you'll go all out. So yes, I'm going to turn this situation around. I'm not going to sit back and moan and cry over what happened and what went wrong and who did what. I'm going to do something about this situation.
What is controlling your thoughts? What is enslaving you? Is it the television set, feeding your mind images of what life should be? Is it the internet, drawing you in and controlling your time? Is it drugs or alcohol numbing your brain and diminishing your desires? Or is it weakness? A lack of discipline that prevents you from accomplishing what you want to accomplish.
If you configure your life so that what you are genuinely doing is aiming at the highest possible good, then the things that you need to survive and to thrive on a day-to-day basis will deliver themselves to you. If you dare to do the most difficult thing that you can conceptualize, your life will work out better than it will if you do anything else.
Safe in the corner. And see, it's not important how long you live. What's important is how you live.
But I think that some of us are producing results in our lives that level of commitment brings that we particularly don't like or find distasteful. I don't think that as a participant in life, you cannot be committed. You're either committed to mediocrity or you're committed to greatness. You're either committed to being productive or you're committed to being non-productive. You're committed to being happy or you're committed to being unhappy. See, whatever you're doing, however you spend your time, that tells you who you are. So think about what it is you like to create in your life experience. On the other hand, you can make the commitment to your life that you don't like the results that you have and that you're going to do something about it. See, that power is available to all of us. People who look at life and decide, I want something different for myself. I made the commitment to do it, and I did it. Why is it that people are frightened by commitment? Because when you say the word commitment, that intimidates a lot of people. Why? Because it means you have to deliver. So most people like to use that language. They don't want to commit themselves because commitment means, among many things, no excuse is acceptable. That's what it means. No excuse. That if you decided that you're going to do this, if it's difficult, so what? If it's inconvenient, so what? If it becomes hard, then do it hard.
Almost any accomplishment in the history of the world has come at the hands of people who've taken risk. People who are willing to push the envelope. People who are willing to explore the unknown. Even if you go and you look in the Bible, you know, the people that are held up as the heroes, they're not the ones who were sitting in their tent under an olive tree. And, you know, the key thing about taking risk is learning. You know, and if something doesn't work out, learn from it. And then you're able to move further. We have to always recognize that we will never make progress unless we're willing to take risks.
Plain that you can't do your dream. Dreams require sacrifices. People don't want to sacrifice because they're so used to mommy or daddy or the system or the government or something else taking care of both. It's not how it works. You don't get to the 1% land. You don't get to that unbelievable place of happiness. You don't get to live your dream. You're not entitled to your dream. You have to fucking bleed for your fucking dream. This is dreams we're talking about. We're talking about dreams.
But can people just make that change? I mean,
yes,
look,
you can,
I believe they
but you
can.
have to plan it out. The way you can change is you have to put aside enough money to give yourself a window. And then you have to have a plan, and you have to spend all your waking hours outside of whatever job you do planning your escape. And you have to come to the realization very clearly that you f***ed up and you got yourself stuck. So whatever you're doing, you have to do it like your life depends on it. Whatever time that you have to attack like you're trying to save the world. You're trying to save your life. You don't want to drown. That 1.5 hours a day that you have to write, God damn, you better be caffeinated and motivated. You got to go. You got to get after it. And you got to have discipline. Most people don't have those things. Most people don't understand what it's like to really go for something.
The reason your life isn't where you want it to be mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially is because you're not buying into the concept of having to earn things. And let me tell you something, earning happiness is a requirement as well. But the truth is, guys, and this is the secret, happiness is earned. Just like earning the right to feel good about your body, just like earning everything else in your life. The reason you don't have happiness is because you haven't been disciplined in the rest of your life. When you don't pay that price, you don't get the prize of happiness. This is very simple. A lot of people will say that everybody deserves to be happy. You know what? I don't buy into that shit. If you're sitting on the couch and you're living a life less than what it could be, you do not deserve to be happy. That is not how the world works. You were put here to go on a journey, and that journey is the fulfillment of your own true potential. And when you don't even attempt to fulfill that potential, you're not going to be happy, ever.
I've never met a person who was not successful that didn't have a great amount of self-discipline within their life. Self-discipline and being able to perform and being able to keep your life on schedule and being able to keep commitments and promises and meet deadlines is essential to success. None of us can afford to have a life that is controlled by someone else or a life that is basically controlled by our emotions. I learned many years ago that there are two kinds of people. There's the type of person who says, I'm going to wait till I feel like it before I do it. And then there's a person who says, I've got to do it so that I feel like it. One will never get anything done because they're still waiting to feel the moment to move. And the other person says, no, I need to move, and then I will begin to feel the moment. Sonia, self-discipline is essential in your life and in my life if we're going to get things done. So I have a challenge for every one of you this weekend. The challenge is simple. As you go through your weekend, and sometimes it's kind of hopefully an easier time of your week, ask yourself, am I practicing self-discipline in my life? Am I doing the things that I should do because I need to do them, or am I kind of waiting to feel the moment? Do like our friends Nike say, just do it.
Because what you're doing is you're trying to optimize right now to stop the discomfort. But what you're going to pay for that in is shame and guilt and regret long term. So what you need to be able to do is bundle all of that up that is as yet unfelt, but will last for way, way, way longer. You know, the future is much longer than now. That's right. The future is going to extend out up until the day that you die. And the now is just for now. And even 130 hours is just 130 hours. And you get to look back, and do you look back with pride and glory? Or do you look back with shame and guilt?
I suggest to you that if you are facing a challenge, don't stop. Stay busy. Work your plan. Continue to do those things that you know that work for you after you have evaluated yourself in the situation. Continue to move. Stay busy, stay busy, stay busy. Expect things to get better for you, because they are. See, life is cyclic. Whatever experience you're having right now, it has not come to stay. It has come to pass. Not to stay, just to pass. It's just going through. The biggest challenge is to know what's happening. This is a part of this thing we call life. This too shall pass. And maintaining perspective, putting it in perspective.
And what I didn't understand by being determined to chase something, by being committed to it, and what commitment is staying true to what you said you were going to do long after the mood that you have set it in has left. You see, people think commitment is saying, yes, I'll do it on the days when it feel good. But I have been committed to everything that I ever started in my life, and I never stopped and I never quit it. And so by being committed to everything that I started, I finished it. It built a certain type of spirit. It built a certain type of mentality. It built a certain type of individual. And so now I couldn't quit even if I wanted to. I couldn't lay in the bed even if I wanted to. I couldn't stop even if I wanted to. I had too much sweat equity in my life and everything that I was doing. Because I understood my existence wasn't about me. I went from me to we a long time ago. I understood the process is more important than the product. It wasn't about the outcome for me. Whether I made it to the NFL or not, that was inconsequential in God's plan for my life. But I was going to fall in love with that process because I understood by falling in love with that process, it was going to turn me into a machine.
If you don't have a lofty ambition, then you suffer miserably. And the reason for that is life is really complex, short, finite, full of suffering, and beyond you. The suffering is meaningful. It's just not the kind of meaning you want. So how do you get out of that? You note the baseline of suffering. And then you say to yourself, okay, I need to do something that justifies that.
At some point in life, we got to wake up and we got to say no more. We got to wake up and we got to say, man, this is it. We got to wake up and say, I'm going to make a change, a difference. We can't just be online watching things, saying amen, all the things and go back to the same things, y'all. It doesn't work like that. Hearing things is great, but you know what? Doing things and taking action, that's what's going to make change in your life. You need to start making some decisions. You ain't got to change everything, but you need to say, you know what? This is the one thing that I'm going to stop being loyal to. This is the one thing I'm going to start being loyal to.
What permission do you need? And I'm here to give you that permission. I'm here to tell you to give yourself that permission. I'm here to tell you to take the pen back and start rewriting that story. So what if you were beaten? So what if you were mentally and emotionally abused? Those are all superpowers now because you are the type of person that went through that and came out the other side a stronger person. You have more resiliency. You are more resourceful than people that have not gone and suffered through adversity and abuse. That's the reality. We are more resilient. We are more emotionally strong, mentally tough, and we can deal with so much. But we have to first let go of the mental crippling crutch that we carry, which is this victim mindhood.
Stop being driven by rewards. Stop being driven by outcomes. Stop being driven by, if I get this, I'm gonna do this. Just work. And if you don't get what you thought you were going to get, show up and still go to work.
Self-confidence is really someone who keeps promises of themselves. Because self-confidence is really like your reputation with yourself. If you've got a great reputation with yourself and you know you can trust you, you're not so concerned about your reputation or what other people think about you.
You got to be able to find all these different things in your mind. Oh, I can put discipline right there. I can put consistency right there. I can put all these things right there in that spot. If your life is not organized and your life being everything around you.
When you get better, everything will get better for you. And that's where I picked up that phrase, for things to change, you've got to change. You don't have to change the marketplace. You don't have to change the marketing plan. You don't have to change the economy. You don't have to change countries. You don't have to change circumstances out there. All you've got to do is look within and see if you can change yourself for the better. And as you change, things will start to change for you.
Treat yourself like you're someone responsible for helping. And that doesn't mean be good to yourself. It doesn't mean be nice to yourself. It doesn't mean give yourself an easy life. That isn't actually what you do to people if you care for them. You actually present them with something like an optimal challenge. First of all, assume that you're worth taking care of and that it's your responsibility to do so, even if you don't like yourself very much. And lots of people don't, and they have their reasons. You have to abandon all that. Treat yourself like you're someone you're responsible for helping.
Yes. Life can be overwhelming. That's the way life works. It is testing you. It is going to throw problems at you, and it is going to throw them at you all at the same time. This is the way life works. Murphy's Law. It is easy to feel beaten when you're faced with all those problems at once. But let me tell you, that does not mean give up fighting. In fact, it means the opposite. It is time for you to fight harder, to dig in, to go on the war path, to assess what the problems are and decide which one you are going to attack first.
You don't have to stay where you're just tolerated and not celebrated. You don't have to stay where you're not happy. You don't have to stay where you're not being better. You don't have to stay where you're suffering. You can free yourself from it. But when are you going to do it? When are you going to realize that if you don't do it, you're going to be staying with this pain forever? You're going to stay in this place of misery for the rest of your life. And I'm not trying to put fear in your heart, but I am putting reality on your mind. Nothing's going to change. At some point, if it serves no purpose in your life, for your life, you got to free it from your life. And I know it's easier said than done. But you know what's a lot harder? Staying in pain for the rest of your life. You know what's a lot harder? Staying in chaos for the rest of your life. You know what's a lot harder? Staying in misery for the rest of your life.
What fears that I'm allowing to imprison me, that's keeping me from breaking out? You are strong enough to do it. You're strong enough, and your life is worth whatever you have to go through to get past this addiction. Whatever you have to do. This dream you got, whatever you want to do, will it be easy to just run out there and do it? No. Will it happen overnight? No. Will it be a struggle? Yes. Will there be times when you can't make ends meet? Yes, that's a part of it. Will there be times you won't know what to do? Yes, that's a part of it. Will you have some opposition? Will things go wrong sometimes? You will have many visits from Murphy.
Very fact that you're alive, the very fact that you were born, the very fact that every morning your contract is renewed is a vote of confidence, a divine vote of confidence, that you are absolutely necessary, that you're indispensable, that you have within you everything you need to face any challenge. That doesn't mean we won't be challenged. It means that we have the strength to deal with any challenge. But know that you have everything you need, and therefore just forge ahead, and a breakthrough will happen. It's a tremendous lesson in life when you understand this. It means that you matter absolutely and forever.
Not feeling it. How do I handle those days when I'm just not feeling it? Those days when I'm tired or worn out or just sick of the grind? What do I do on those days? I go anyway. Even if I'm just going through the motions, I go through the motions. Don't really want to work out? I work out. Don't really want to hammer on a project? I hammer on a project. Don't really want to get up and get out of bed? I get up and get out of bed.
The more responsibility you take on, the more meaning your life has. And the higher degree of responsibility that you agree voluntarily to try to bear, the richer your life will be. It's like it's weight, it's responsibility, but there's glory in it. There's real glory in it. There's deep meaning in it.
You get one shot at this gig right here. Life. One life. That's all you've got. And regret, in and of itself, it's worthless. It does nothing for you. In fact, the only valuable thing in regret is the lesson you learned.
Most of us are only 1 to 10% away from greatness. But we think we're so far away from it that we never try. And once I started going down this journey, I started realizing that, and those percents started to add up.
The next thing that begins to nurture that hunger, honor yourself as your word. Don't give your word out lightly. When you throw your word out there and you don't honor it, it makes a statement about you. If you decide to maintain a sense of integrity with yourself, that if I speak it, I'm going to live it. It's who I am. And I'm going to be very cautious in how I give my word to others, most of all with the commitments that I make to myself, because I want my life to reflect my words and honoring who I am and what I express. Another challenging area in terms of nurturing and developing that hunger in yourself is learning the art of becoming single-minded, learning how to concentrate, learning how to focus in. And you'll be surprised at the things that you're able to do. When you learn how to block things out, when you learn how to keep thine eyes single, you'll be surprised at the ideas that will come to you, of the people that you'll be able to attract, of the opportunities that you'll be able to see. You'll begin to see things that have been standing there looking you in the face saying, I can't believe this has been here all this time.